Sydney court has doubled the discrimination payout for an Australian trans woman who was kicked off a female-only app. It comes almost 2 years after Roxanne Tickle successfully sued Sol Grover, founder of the Giggle for Girls app, for blocking her account on the grounds of gender identity.
US President Donald Trump left Beijing after a 2-day summit saying he had struck fantastic trade deals, great for both countries, but few details have emerged on what the two superpowers agreed. Trump arrived for a high-stakes summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Wednesday, accompanied by several CEOs, a high-profile business delegation spanning agriculture, aviation, electric vehicles and artificial intelligence, AI, chips.
Indian ride-hailing company Rapido said on Friday it had raised $240 million in fresh funding at a $3 billion valuation to compete better in the country's growing but challenging mobility market. Led by Prosus, the equity round saw participation from existing investors, including Westbridge Capital and Accel. The round was part of a larger $730 million primary and secondary financing. Rapido was previously valued at $2. $3 billion during a secondary transaction last year.
Derbyshire head of cricket Mickey Arthur has expressed disappointment over Pakistan spinner Sufyan Mukim missing the opening half of the upcoming Vitality Blast 2026 campaign. In a statement issued by Derbyshire, Arthur said Sufyan's unavailability forced the county side to reconsider the balance of its squad ahead of the new season. Grand Theft Auto 6 fans are again waiting for official news after reports claimed that the game's pre-orders may go live next week. The latest rumor started after a Best Buy affiliate email reportedly listed a GTA 6 pre-order campaign running from May 18 to May 21. The claim began spreading online after content creator Frogboys1 Gaming appeared to receive the email during a YouTube live stream, IGN reported through Game Informer.
Lahore Traffic Police has intensified its crackdown against traffic violations on model roads across Lahore, with action taken against more than 42,000 vehicles and motorcyclists so far this year. According to official figures, authorities impounded 18,141 motorcycles over dangerous driving violations. 12,000 also took action on motorists and motorcyclists for lane light 9 motorists and motorcyclists for lane line violations.
Rao Abdul Karim has reaffirmed his commitment to ensuring the best medical treatment for special children of Punjab police employees, as the department released more than 889 million in welfare funds during the current year. According to the Punjab police spokesperson, 721 children suffering from cerebral palsy received a monthly allowance of Rs 20,000 each, with total disbursements exceeding Rs 642 million.
India and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, agreed the framework for a strategic defence partnership on Friday during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Gulf nation, the Indian Foreign Ministry said, as they seek to deepen ties amid the Iran war. India and the UAE also signed pacts on strategic petroleum reserves and supply of liquefied petroleum gas. The ministry said in a statement.
Indian billionaire Gautam Adani and his nephew Sagar Adani have agreed to pay a combined $18 in penalties to settle a civil fraud lawsuit filed by the US Securities and Exchange Commission. In 2024, the regulator had accused the Adanis of paying bribes to Indian officials for high-profile renewable energy projects and misleading US investors about anti-bribery practices while trying to raise funds through a bond offering.
Somali pirates are profiting from the war in Iran as commercial ships. Bypassing conflict routes through lengthy detours around Africa, sail into their strike zone. The intensifying conflict in the Middle East has choked traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital route for roughly 20% of the world's oil, natural gas and critical raw materials. To avoid it, carriers are having to detour around Africa's southern tip, extending travel times by weeks and pushing maritime traffic directly into the volatile Somali basin.
India has raised fuel prices by about 3% as the energy crisis driven by the Iran war and closure of the Strait of Hormuz starts to bite on the economy. The government in New Delhi announced the 3 rupee per litre price hike on Friday as it moved to offset losses triggered by the shortage of supply. Gasoline prices rose to 97.77 rupees a litre, while diesel climbed to 90.67 rupees 1.94. Finland has stood down its defence forces after sounding an alarm over suspected drone activities in its airspace. The authorities said on Friday that suspected drone activity above the Helsinki region no longer posed a threat and that the situation was returning to normal hours after launching an emergency response, including the launch of fighter jets and closure of the capital's airport. The international
Google may be reducing free storage for some new accounts from 15 gigabyte to 5 gigabytes unless users link a phone number. The company has long offered 15 gigabytes of free storage with every Google account. That storage is shared across Google Drive, Google Photos, and Gmail. Google's support page now says each account includes up to 15 gigabytes of storage at no cost. Karachi Additional Inspector General AIG Azad Khan shared details on Friday of probe against alleged Queenpin Anmol alias Pinky, saying that investigators had come across information regarding the involvement of foreigners in running the drug network. Anmol had been arrested earlier this week from her apartment in Karachi in a joint raid conducted by police and a civilian intelligence agency in connection with 2 cases pertaining to the possession of narcotics and an unlicensed weapon. US President Donald Trump's visit to Beijing ended with a tour of Zhongnanhai, the exclusive, heavily guarded 14th century compound where top Chinese leaders live and work. Xi leading him on the tour was yet another moment for the cameras in a 2-day trip heavy on pageantry but scant on details about policy agreed by both sides. For weeks leading up to United States President Donald Trump's visit to Beijing, his administration has been pressing China to lean on Iran amid negotiations aimed at reaching a peace deal between Washington and Tehran. Yet as Trump departed from Beijing on Friday afternoon on board Air Force One, after a little more than 40 hours in the Chinese capital and a series of meetings with President Xi Jinping, there was little evidence that the world's 2 most powerful nations had forged any agreement on how to end the war on Iran. Early signs point to the United States and China moving towards a relationships of common interest following US President Donald Trump's trip to China, according to analysts, setting aside the turmoil that marked 2025. Trump was in Beijing for 3 days this week to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping, accompanied by a delegation of American CEOs, including the heads of Apple, Nvidia, BlackRock, and Goldman Sachs. Ramoun occupied West Bank, fresh off the 7th forced displacement of his central West Bank Bedouin community since 1948. Abenajeh was not in a contemplative mood leading up to Nakba Day. He said he was in a rush, too busy reacting to the crises of the day, the continuing third Nakba, as he called it. "This is not a proper place to live, that's why I'm in a hurry. Waiting for a car to take me," said Abu Najeh, the Mukhtar or leader of the former Bedouin community of Ain Samia, speaking from a recently erected tent in the outskirts of Ramoun before rushing to find his sons amid unfolding violence in Jiljalia.
The Punjab Specialised Healthcare and Medical Education Department, SHCNMD, has imposed a ban on assigning nursing staff to general duty, directing all institutions to ensure that nurses are not deployed away from their original posts. According to an official letter, the practice of assigning to general duty was affecting the delivery of healthcare services. In response, the department has instructed that nursing staff on the posts for which they are paid only high-resolution satellite images comparing 2019 and 2026 have revealed large-scale deforestation across parts of Upper Diyar, raising fresh concerns over forest protection in Khyber Pak Tunkhwa. The images taken loss of natural tree cover across 13 hotspot locations near Jakul village in the Sheringal area, where large forest patches have turned into bare area, where large forest patches bear land over the 7-year period.
The Pakistan Cricket Board (PCB) is expected to make major changes to national cricketers' central contracts ahead of the new contract cycle starting July 1. According to sources, the current financial model for central contracts will expire on June 30. The 3-year financial structure was introduced in 2023 during the tenure of former PCB chairman Zakir Ashraf and has remained unchanged under the current chairman, Mohsin Naqvi.
Senate has passed a government bill increasing compensation for passengers in cases involving death or injury during air travel due to airline fault. Under the amended law, compensation has been increased from 5 million to 20 million. Tariq Fazal Chaudhry presented the carriage by air. Amendment Bill 2026 in the Senate, where it was approved through a majority vote despite opposition demands to send the bill to a standing committee.
Punjab Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz has directed authorities to install safety nets beneath manhole covers across the province to prevent accidents and improve public safety. The polyester strip safety nets will be fixed inside manholes, gutters and drainage systems. A pilot project has already been launched in Gujranwala, where nets will be installed on 30,000 manholes.
PPP MNA and spokesperson Shazia Mari said on Friday that one instance of interaction between two people who had worked closely for several years cannot be viewed in isolation, after a video clip of PPP chairperson Bilawal Bhutto Zardari curtness with her went viral on social. The incident took place at a press conference after the PPP's parliamentary party meeting at the Parliament House in Islamabad on Thursday. Security forces killed 9 terrorists as they repulsed an attack on an army camp in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Bajar district, official sources said on Friday. 4 security personnel were also martyred during the engagement, they added.
Canadian rapper Drake just let loose a savage diss on his Palestinian-American contemporary DJ Khaled over the latter's apparent apathy over the plight of his own people. Drake dropped 3 new albums, Iceman, Habibti and Maid of Honor, on Friday, with a particularly potent line in one of the songs.
US President Donald Trump spent his final morning in Beijing in Zhongnanhai, the highly secretive, tightly guarded leadership compound of China's ruling Communist Party. Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping strolled through its pristine gardens, with Trump admiring the roses and Xi offering to send seeds before they held talks over tea and lunch. 5 Italian nationals have died following a scuba diving accident in the Maldives, Italy's foreign ministry said on Thursday. The incident occurred in the Vavu Atoll, where the group had been attempting to explore a series of underwater caves at a depth of around 50 meters, 165 feet, the foreign ministry statement said. The United States is planning to indict former Cuban President Raul Castro as Washington raises the pressure on the island's communist government. Several U.S. media outlets reported on Thursday that the potential charges against the 94-year-old brother of Fidel Castro relate to a 1996 incident in which Cuba shot down planes flown by the anti-Castro humanitarian group Brothers to the rescue.
Tech layoffs are rising again in May, with the number of announced job cuts already close to April's total, despite the month being only half over. According to TrueUp data, more than 135,700 tech workers have been laid off so far this year. That pace is moving faster than last year, when more than 245,000 tech workers lost their jobs in 2025.